let's go to the second part of our podcast. You've got a business idea that I don't think we're necessarily going to do today, but I think it's pretty interesting, and it is something that someone could do.
Yeah. So I didn't invent this business plan. It's a take on something that already exists. So I'll give you my pitch, right? So we're both Army officers, or I used to be an Army officer. You're getting out of the Army now. We're familiar with military bases, how they operate. I was thinking about my vacation in Hilton Head, South Carolina, right? I'm looking at Airbnbs and I'm looking at all the rentals, and I noticed, I'm taking it in a couple of months. I noticed that the same private equity firm that owns the hotel and all the other nice stuff in Hilton Head also owns all the single family houses on the island that you can do vacation rentals on, right? So they've cornered the market. They jacked the rates up. They have total control over that. I don't know how they did it, but they accomplished it. I don't know how they did it. Anyway, so I started thinking about like military bases, and I'm like, man, military bases are such awesome rental markets, right? Like 2/3 of the housing is single family rentals. The short-term rental market there is like a hidden gem. People that are familiar with those markets in the Airbnb market there, they make a ton of money. The houses are cheap, but the demand is super, super high. So I was like, oh shit, what if you had the private equity model in a military housing community, right? You had a portion of the portfolio being single family rentals, long-term rentals, and then maybe the houses that are like 150 to 300K, the nicer housing outside of a military base. That's generally what they're priced at. Those are short-term rentals, right? How would you do that? I'm like, yo, every military base also has 1 to 2 property managers that have 80% of the market. It's like without fail, like every single one has one gigantic property management firm. So my idea was to bring this all together, buy that property management company and the brokerage that goes with it, slowly acquire all the housing that you can, right? Now think about this, you're guaranteed none of those are short-term rentals, right? So you're only getting long-term rental cash flow or yield, right? Then rehab the houses as needed, right? Buy out the houses from the existing owners and split the portfolio to whatever makes sense. Maybe it's 66% long-term rental, 33% short-term rental. But to me, I'm like, yo, that's going to get you more yield or cash flow than build to rent, right? You don't have to go through the development costs. You have all this existing supply, super huge demand, BAH or housing allowances from the military, jacking up the rates, and you can get the STR market, short-term rental market. So, I mean, I think it's really difficult to go buy 40 single family houses with direct to seller marketing. It's very, very difficult to do that. But I think you could set an expectation where this project plan might take 3 to 5 years. And you're saying, I'm going to acquire 10 to 15 houses year 1, right? 20 to 30 houses year 2, by offering retailer close to retail price to all of the homeowners currently being served by that property management company, right? You don't have to pay for data. You already have all their contact information. You already manage the property and are taking a cut of the fees. So I think if you're coming in with cash and you had all that money behind you, it would make the acquisitions process, I think, a little cheaper, and I think a little bit easier than if you tried to contact every single person in Fort Bragg, North Carolina.
Thanks for listening to the Virtual Real Estate Investing Podcast, presented by Greyline Investments, where we talk about how to find, fund, and finish deals from anywhere in the world.